As artificial intelligence continues to play an increasing role across the federal government, a critical issue facing IT leaders is how best to ensure the security, privacy, and control of that data and the infrastructure essential for managing AI workloads. I'm Wyatt Kesh with Scoop News Group, and here to share their perspective on that is Dr. Colin Crosby, U.S. Marine Corps Service Data Officer and Deputy Department of Navy Chief Data Officer. Colin, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Wyatt. I appreciate the opportunity to be here.
So let me start by asking, what types of AI use cases are getting the most significant attention or investment support at your agency? And how do you see those investments bringing greater innovation to your agency's mission?
Well, that's a great question. From my perspective, what we've seen so far, and understand that we're still relatively new in implementing AI capabilities within the service. But what we've seen so far are decision support tools. We've seen computer vision type AI models, as well as Gen AI and large language models for automatic and repetitive for automating repetitive tasks and providing efficiency within the workplace. So I would say that those are the models right now that we're seeing that are really pushing the envelope, and that the service are really clamoring for more of at this particular time.
And then when it comes to controlling security and costs, how do you view the pros and cons of managing data in private on-prem service stacks, if you will, versus secure government authorized, more commercial service stacks?
Wow, so another great question. So what we see so far, and please understand that we're a warfighting organization. So we operate in multiple climate and place, and all the way down to the tactical edge, the first island chain. So we are constantly analyzing and assessing the situation, understanding where we intend to fight and what's the best way to do that. So at the fact that we are hybrid, that we're multi-cloud, that we have our capabilities that are both on-prem and in the cloud, we have to understand the situation. For instance, operating the first island chain in DDoS type environment, which is degraded, denied, intermittent, and latent type environment, we have to assess what's necessary, because we're not constantly connected to the cloud at the tactical edge. So that's where those more private type of AI stacks will be more beneficial as we capture information at the edge and process that information. So, and again, with that, security is always an interesting factor, because it costs, whether you're on-prem or whether you're more of a public, it does cost, of course, in a public type of environment. And when you're sharing services across multiple vendors or multiple clients, it's a little bit less, but we still have to make sure that we understand how we are implementing those capabilities as we assess the situation moving forward.
Makes total sense. I'm curious as well, as AI becomes a more prominent part of the workloads, and then when you think about managing the computing resources to manage both AI and non-AI workloads, how would you characterize the service's capabilities at the moment in being able to really centrally manage where and what computing resources do those AI intensive workloads between CPUs and GPUs, et cetera?
So as we're actually going through that process right now, which is very timely. And our perspective, what we're seeing is those that choose to invest in the modernization of infrastructure, to invest in educating and updating their workforce, to foster cross collaboration, between services and between departments, those organizations, we believe, are much more postured for understanding and managing their CPUs and GPU resources, within their organization. Because of force design and our modernization effort, the Marine Corps is reasonably postured for managing and operating AI workloads. Now, as we continue our digital transformation, we 100% believe that we'll become more proficient in executing that task.
And then are you seeing any changes in how, the U.S. Marine Corps and the Navy are thinking about their investment strategies in being able to manage, CPUs versus GPOs, or their infrastructure more generally to support AI-enabled applications?
So it's all across the board because we have to look at it from the type of models that we're using. Because again, if we're going to train models or use models in the environment, that's going to consume a lot of CPUs and possibly GPUs, large language models, the LLMs, large language models. So there are other type of models now that we're also investigating, that a little bit more lightweight type of models that won't require the type of GPU capability needed to train or to utilize those models. And so we're looking at it from all different angles. We have to be ready. We have to know that we have the capability that we can spin up GPUs whenever we need to within our environment. And that's part of our initiative called the Integrated Mission and Data Fabric that the Marine Corps is currently implementing as a part of our Fighting Smart strategy. We have the capability. We are developing our workforce, so when we do need additional capability, advanced capability, we can either we can spin up those GPUs because it's all cloud-based now. So we can spin it up when we want to, we can use it, and then we can decommission those GPUs and get back to normal CPU functionality once we've passed that more integrated or more, heavy lifting on those models, if that makes sense.
That does. I appreciate that, and appreciate the challenge of trying to manage all that as we go forward. Lastly, in taking it up a level, or maybe looking more broadly, what would you say are some of the biggest issues or gaps that your team, your organization is starting to try to address to take fuller advantage of AI's potential across the Marine Corps?
Wow, so that's definitely in my wheelhouse that keeps me up at night, and that's data quality and data access, as well as talent management. So the data quality aspect of it is that we are so used to legacy systems and siloed data and lack standardization that is a heavy lift for us to be able to bring all that together. And we're doing the work. That's the great part about it. That's what I'm so excited about even talking about it today, because we are seeing results in less than 24 months of bringing together those siloed data repositories, of building API connections to our data sources so that we can pull and push data across our enterprise. And that's a huge part of making sure that we have those in place, so that when we do get to those more advanced AI capabilities, we have those data lakes and those data connectivities in place. And the next is the talent. We want to make sure that we have our talent. We have upgraded our talent across the Marine Corps. So we're actually in the process now of starting to gather data information of where those data workers are within the Marine Corps. Because we do have individuals that have the skill set that, they're just curious individuals, smart individuals. They learn it on themselves, or individuals that want to learn. And so we want to identify them, being able to bring them together so that they can create that foundation that we need of enduring data workers across the Marine Corps.
Really appreciate that. And it sounds like a very exciting time for you and your team. So, well, Colin Crosby, thank you so much for taking a few minutes to share your perspective on kind of the evolution of the infrastructure needs essential to managing AI workloads at the U.S. Marine Corps and your efforts more broadly. So thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity.